Hi guys, and welcome to this next video in this series of learning the Raspberry Pi 5 with me, Ibra. And in this video we're going to talk about how to actually get the Raspberry Pi operating system, formerly called Raspbian, imaged onto your SD card. Now you're going to need to do a simple Google search and just look for Raspberry Pi Imager. It should land you on this page here. Now, it used to be called Raspbian because it is a port or a fork of the Debian Bookworm operating system, and so they kind of coined the term Raspbian to refer to that. Now they just call it Raspberry Pi OS, and it's the officially supported operating system going forward. So it's the one that I would recommend you stick to going forward, which we'll see a little bit later on. Now you need to download the version of the imager that's relevant to the operating system you're working on. I work on Windows, so I downloaded the Windows version, compatible version, and it shows up here. You go through the really minimal install process. It's like literally a couple of clicks, and then it should show up in your start menus like this. And then when you launch it, we'll have a couple of really simple options about picking the device we're interested in, which is the 5. We're going to pick the recommended 64-bit Debian operating system, or the fork of it, and then we're going to pick the storage medium that we are going to be mounting the customizable operating system onto, which will be my SD card. The next thing we're going to do is I'm going to edit some settings. Now, in here, I highly recommend you pick a host name to turn that on. I just stick to the default one. The next thing is to try and give yourself a unique username so you can differentiate from other accounts that you may have on your Windows machine when you're trying to SSH access into it. We will also configure the Wi-Fi settings, and we're also going to set the location settings. We are going to set up the ejection, and enabling telemetry is optional, just in case that if something goes wrong with your imaging process, it sends the diagnostics and telemetry to the Raspberry Pi people so they can fix the problem for future users. Now I'm going to pause the video so I can just insert all my settings, and then we can continue from there. So I've got my settings now inserted, and then now we're going to move on to the next part. Now we're going to ignore SSH access for now. I've run through it a few times, and we're going to do it from the operating system itself. But if you want to know a little bit about what SSH access is, it's basically passwordless access, where you have the presence of a securely generated key that authenticates you onto the Raspberry Pi, and the whole purpose of it is to promote the idea of just using command line terminals, commonly known in the world of Linux bash shells, the Linux bash shell, or the born again shell as it's originally named after the guy who wrote it. But yeah, it's to promote the idea of just getting into your Raspberry Pi without physically having to log on to it, using things like remote desktop access, or things like TeamViewer and other technologies like that, which we're going to cover in future videos. But for now, just leave it off. We're going to cover it in a future video. So yeah, leave that off. You can turn on these settings if you want to, and then we're going to move on from there. So I probably would recommend you ejecting it straight away, so then you can move on to the next part of the video, which is actually mounting it and inserting it into the Raspberry Pi on the reverse and then turning it on. But yeah, as a quick summary, give yourself a unique username, get into the habit of unique passwords, just in case for security reasons. Set up the wireless settings so that as soon as your device is powered up, it can actually start pulling down settings and connect you to the internet, because that's going to be very useful, very useful. And then set your location. I'm based in the UK, so I've got UK related settings there, so click save. And then, would you like to apply these operating system customization settings? You say yes. I want to erase my SD card, and then hopefully when this process finishes, you will have a fully prepared SD card that you can just straight mount into your Raspberry Pi hardware. So I'm going to pause the video from here because it takes roughly 5 minutes to go through from end to end, and then I'll just cap the video there, and then you can see what the end process looks like. Thank you. Hi guys, thank you for joining me on this video. We've now unpaused the video so you can see the end process, and that's all it takes. You now successfully have a SD card with the Raspberry Pi operating system fully mounted onto there. And then now please join me for the next video where we're going to actually use what we've learned and done in this video. Thank you very much. Bye.